friends, thanks so much for tuning in with Embodied Astrology. My name is Renee. I'm a consulting astrologer and embodiment educator. And every month I offer astrologically guided readings that help connect you with your mind-body intelligence and energetic intuition. In this very special Aquarius season episode, we're going to tune in with 2025 and get some channeled messages specific to each of the 12 zodiac signs. So make sure to listen to the recording for your sun, rising, and moon signs. And if these readings speak to you, make sure to check out the extended readings for each sign in 2025. They include an additional 2+ hours of in-depth exploration for navigating this year's most important transits, retrogrades, and eclipses. Additionally, if you are an Aquarius sun, moon, or rising, or if you know how to work through the themes of each house in your chart and you know where Aquarius is for you, make sure to listen in on the Aquarius reading for an extra special edition with some important themes for Aquarius season. In 2025, that's January 19th through February 18th. If my readings resonate for you, let me know by clicking the thumbs up and tell me what lands in the comment section. Make sure to subscribe and stay updated with my monthly readings and astro-inspired movement and meditation practices. The best way to show your support and stay connected is to sign up for the Embodied Astrology newsletter, drop into a weekly or monthly Embodied Astrology class, or sign up for a monthly membership. You can find more information on everything in the show notes or at embodiedastrology.com. All right, let's get into your channeled readings for 2025. All right, so tuning in with the body of the year 2025 for Pisces. Well, my friends, you've really been through some pretty big shifts recently, and I feel that a lot of you are restructuring your lives from the inside out. You have changed a lot, and of course you continue to change and evolve. And the place that we are as we move into 2025 really feels like you are in the midst of some big and far-reaching changes. Now, 2025 in general, as I've been talking about in all of the readings, is a bridge year. And what I mean when I say a bridge year is that we are really in a liminal space collectively during this time. We're transitioning from one dream into a new dream. One world is dying and a new world is being born. On a collective level, I'm sure a lot of you can feel this in the political, social, environmental landscapes that you are navigating through. There is a lot of change that's happening, and the ways that people have been orienting towards the present and the future and the past are all shifting really enormously. There is a lot that is kind of up in the air. We don't really know which way it's going to go. This is a time of a lot of collective change and revolution and evolution, and we are all going to be part of that. 2025 and 2026 form a bridge, and on the other side of 2026, there is a new thing that's starting to happen. New shapes in society are coming into form. And that means that what we are doing now and how we're orienting for the near future needs to be aligned with the intention of change and adaptation. So you are in it as we enter into 2025. I feel that a lot of you are really in the midst of a big restructuring. You have been shifting very, very deeply in your self-concept. And I'm sure that a lot of you can resonate with this feeling of an old dream is ending and a new dream is beginning. And in this reading, it feels like that is the dream of who you are. And so when you tune in with the feeling of I am, what emerges for you? What are the impressions and vibrations and images and rememberings and callings and knowings that bubble up? When you tune in with your sense of who you are, there are some really deep core truths that are beyond language, that feel like essential qualities. And these qualities are going to continue with you throughout your life. But in your life, you'll go through different chapters of trying to realize how these qualities can best manifest through your relationships, through your jobs, through the places that you live or travel, or how you style yourself or think about your personality. And of course, as you go through your various life changes, in the middle of them, you might feel really aligned or identified with whomever you happen to be relating with, or wherever you happen to be, or, the hairstyle or the clothing that you wear. But because I know that all of you have been through life changes that have resulted in a kind of hindsight and recognition that you are no longer the way that you were, then I know that all of you also have this feeling of what is it to be evolving and becoming. And when we have to let go of the ideas of who we are, it can be really disturbing. It can feel intense. It can feel totally fraught. We might encounter fear and worry and insecurity. There may be periods of really significant frustration where we feel stuck in these trappings of who we used to be, in relationships that we're no longer really invested in the same way, in places that we want to move on from, with haircuts and clothing that we just don't really want to wear anymore. And this is the feeling that I have for you in a lot of ways, that you are in the middle of restyling yourself. And over the course of the last couple of years, many of you have been pushing out against the containers that you built for yourself in the past. And I feel that a lot of what you have been doing is really laborious and heavy lifting. And it feels like you are confronted with challenges on the daily to meet the person who you used to be and then show up as the person that you are now. And in that meeting and showing up, there is kind of a constant negotiation and renegotiation. Many of you are changing patterns as you hear these words. You are really in the middle of recognizing where you are ready for shifting. And in 2025, many of you are landing in some powerful new realizations about who you are and what you want, and then what this means for you in a ripple out kind of way when it comes to all other factors of your life. And this is a year that is pushing on you from many different sides to really embrace and emerge inside of a new and opening identity. And this is also a year that doesn't promise any kind of stability in that new place, but is going to ask you to continue to refine and adjust and adapt and mutate in really creative ways that ultimately are about you becoming increasingly more of who you are. So this feeling of your essence is something that you want to continue to come back to as frequently as you possibly can. And if you have any kinds of practices that are about tuning in with what is most essential for you, this is definitely a time when those kinds of practices are incredibly helpful. Journaling and self-reflexive practices, having a great therapist are some ways that you might think about that. Certainly meditation and soul work, guided journeying, anything that you might do with divination or the occult, working with astrology, working with tarot, working with other forms that can help you feel into who you are in more multidimensional and energetic ways. Also working with ceremonies or rituals that might help you shed some layers that are no longer adequate or accurate for who you are becoming could be really helpful. And there are many ways to do that with the support of certain guides or allies, and also with your own energetic guidance. Dream work is always really powerful, especially for a lot of Pisces, as your sign definitely connects to the realms of dreams. And any kind of prayer or practices that you have that connect you with the liminal and numinous can also be really helpful for you right now. And on a more practical level, I would say that this is a really interesting time for you to have open-ended, curious conversations with people who know you well. I'm thinking your friends, family members, people who you may have worked with for a long time, asking for reflections from those people who have known you and seen you through different phases of your life, to reflect back to you about what they see as your essential qualities, and particularly focusing on where they feel you and experience you being most quintessentially yourself. And the feeling that I have when I say most quintessentially yourself is that you feel relaxed and at ease and available for relationship. You feel present, not preoccupied. And most importantly, you feel happy because you are connected with your inner truth. You are not striving to be someone or something for anybody else. You are doing what you love. You are acting in ways that really serve and support your own energy, etc. And you might also ask your close relationships to reflect back to you how they see you deviating from that, where they see you sabotaging your own energy, or maybe sometimes have the experience of you not being able to really hear or listen to your own intuition or guidance. Now, obviously, those kinds of relationships are really special. To be able to get that kind of feedback is rare. So I don't necessarily want to tell you to go out and ask that question to just anybody. You really want to be asking people who you trust to have your best interest in mind, and who you really trust to be thoughtful and attuned people in and of themselves, and fairly close to their own authenticity and truth, so that what they can reflect to you is in service to you, to your spirit. Now, over the course of this year, there are interesting new dynamics starting to take shape. And I feel for a lot of you that you have been in some kind of process of trying to figure out where you want to be and with whom you want to spend your time and invest your resources. This means your time, your money, your attention, and to some extent, your future investments. Who are the people that you are wanting to build with has been a question that I think is at the forefront of your mind and really deeply in your heart. In 2025 and moving into 2026, there are opportunities for you to really shift the landscape of what I'm going to call your belonging. Now, your home and family are major themes here. But those words, home and family, are small words that can mean a lot of things. And I think that Pisces is really needing to innovate and update these areas currently. And so home and family might not be the things that are the traditional kinds of associations or meanings for you at this point. You might want to expand your notions of what home and family can include. For some of you, this means that you are connecting more deeply with chosen family, or you might be experimenting with or exploring ways of relating and belonging and sharing resources that are outside of the norm and status quo. Some of you might be disrupting the stability and traditions that have been the ground of your home and family life for some time now. Or you might find that other people who are part of your family or who somehow impact your home are upsetting the foundations there. And then you need to adjust. And there has to be some kind of process where you let go of what was and open up to what can be. Now, ultimately, I feel this as an opportunity for you to gain more of a sense of liberation and autonomy. There is a lot of creative energy that can come in when we let go of what's known and open to what's new. But I also want to honor that these experiences can be profoundly upsetting and destabilizing. And in that, there is definitely a need for really deep care. And I want to encourage you, I said this already and I'll say it probably 100 more times in this reading, but I really want to encourage you to feel into the ways that you can access a sense of belonging outside of what might be more of the status quo, consensus reality relationships, where human beings often look for that. So many of us look for a sense of belonging in our friend groups or our families, in our work relationships or kind of social organizing places. But a lot of us also can really receive a very deep sense of connection and belonging and embeddedness when we connect outside of the human realms. So being with nature, being with trees, being with non-human beings are all ways that you can tap into your innate, intrinsic embeddedness and belonging in the larger world. And this feels so important for you on so many levels. On one level, this is going to be a year where your spiritual life and energetic awareness really starts to take on new dimensions. For some folks, this might be the first time that you're ever exploring spirituality or energetic awareness. And for some of you, this might be a lifetime practice that is now deepening and really becoming very transformative in new and different ways. And for many of you, this is absolutely necessity. This is the place where you can find nourishment and resource when what's happening in the day-to-day, in the news, in the human dramas is too much, is not making sense, doesn't really give you what you need, etc. And I will also say that the more that you invest in practices and ways of being that help you feel your relationships beyond the human realms, the more able you are to be very present and receptive inside of the human realms. And also, the more you are able to access your own truth, your empowerment, the clarity of your wants, needs, and boundaries, etc. So this is definitely a time when I would encourage you to really cultivate and look for opportunities to cultivate a sense of belonging outside of the human realms, first and foremost, and then to experiment and take an attitude of adaptability within the networks and the places and spaces and groups of people where you are experiencing the possibilities of home, family, foundation, and belonging. There's a lot of change coming into this area of your life. I think, again, that this change is bringing a ton of opportunity. It feels definitely like it has a lot of potentials to be exciting and creative and liberating. And change can sometimes be pretty alarming and destabilizing. And so whether you are feeling a more challenging or generative end of the spectrum there, Either way, your work to cultivate spiritual and energetic awareness and to build relationships beyond the human realms will support you. Now, in doing this kind of thing, in shifting your sense of home, family, stability, in opening up to new and different kinds of relationships, and working to expand and transform your spiritual and energetic potentialities, there is increasing emphasis on the ways that you actually know yourself. And so again, I'm coming back to this theme of your self-concept. When you tune in with who you are, what do you feel there? This is a time when your sense of who you are wants to be fed with care and love. And when you have a lot of support to increase your self-confidence and self-esteem, particularly by opening yourself up in more spiritual and energetic ways. Self-love is something that is extremely important, and also, I'm going to say, subtle. The way that I'm feeling the need to practice self-love in your chart is resonating with a high degree of a need for accountability. And so this means that you are accountable to your own energy, that as a human being, you are very aware that you are here learning and that you are capable of harm and that you have an impact. And you really want to be able to be almost like radically self-reflective, to be able to apologize if apologies are necessary, to be able to see where you made a mistake, where you might have hurt someone, to be able to account for that in yourself, in your own body, in your own mind and emotional awareness, and of course with other people, but in ways that are almost, the feeling that I have is like you're almost excited to do it because you are not identifying with the mistake you made. You're not beating yourself up because you had an impact on somebody that they experienced in a negative or harmful way. What's happening for you is that you are learning about your power. And as you learn, you can evolve. And when you do something and it doesn't have the intended outcome, the opportunity for you is to take responsibility for it, to be accountable to that, and to learn. And your learning is so important and it's so exciting because you are evolving and your self-concept is shifting. And it feels like the more that you are able to really just love yourself and be curious about who you are as a person who is learning, that you are a spiritual being having a human experience, and the human realm is dramatic, it's messy, it's ridiculous a lot of the time. None of us literally can see our own asses. We are constantly bumping up into each other. And the work that I feel like you want to be doing right now is becoming increasingly aware of the dynamics of relationships so that you can move gracefully and creatively inside of them. And so when something is happening and it feels like, oh, that didn't go the way that I planned, that teaches you about new routes that are possible. And so you are not getting caught up in defensiveness or petty grievances. You're not holding grudges. You're not obsessive or worried about, where you're doing something wrong or anything like that. You are just taking in the information. You are recognizing that you are evolving. You're allowing your heart to be touched, and you are expanding your compassion and your empathy. You're curious about your impact. You are wanting to grow, and you're wanting to grow in ways that are contributing to your sense of liberation and I'm going to say like mutual sovereignty. So really helping yourself and helping others to feel empowered by practicing radical accountability, which means it's like, oh, wow, okay, this is what happened. This is how you felt with it. This is where I was coming from. I see the impact that I had. I'm taking note of that. I'm learning what you need. I'm learning what I need. But I don't need to deflect. I don't need to defend. I don't need to fight you about it. What I need to do is love myself in this moment and recognize where my deepest essence and intention are, and continue to love and support that essence and that quality of my being. And this then allows you to really celebrate who you are. And I feel like this is a big theme for you this year, Pisces. You've been going through some interesting kinds of energies over the last couple of years. And I think that there have definitely been times in the recent past, and certainly throughout 2025, again, where you might have to confront insecurity, worry, doubt, feeling not so hot in and of yourself or about things. But you are also really starting to build a very beautiful, powerful, dynamic sense of healthy self-confidence. And this happens when you focus on what you love about yourself. And what you love about yourself, Pisces, is always going to lead you to love bigger and more, and help you resonate and emanate with the feeling of love in your life. And so once more, I'm going to say, think about the quintessential essence of who you know yourself to be. When you are your most relaxed, your most joyful, doing what you love the most in the entire world. And think about that kind of vibe that you have in those particular situations. That is your authentic self. And that kind of energy is what you want to focus on in yourself throughout the year, building and cultivating more opportunities for you to feel that way, and recognizing that you don't need a lot of external conditions to feel that way. Of course, it's wonderful to have all the things that we love and all the time in the world and all of the absolutely perfect circumstances so that we can feel like our perfect sense of self. But you also have a map to that kind of feeling. You can at any point choose to focus internally, to take some deep breaths, to remember who you are in your essence, to call up any images, memories, or mantras that help you ground and land in that essence. And just by focusing on it, bringing your attention there and concentrating, you can build that frequency and that energy. And that then helps you navigate your relationships. It helps you move through the obstructions of challenge and blockage. It helps you remember what is most important. And then it helps you to build and sustain what you most value. Now, when it comes to value, how you value yourself has a lot to do then with what you are giving to others and to the world. And I feel that a lot of you are really shifting your life right now because you want to be giving more of what you value. You want to be empowering yourself to be more authentic and aligned so that the ways that you give and the ways that you express feel good to you. And it feels to me that when you are able to do this, then you receive. So when you are able to give in ways that feel authentic and generous and aligned, then you receive more of what you want and what you need. And there's a lot of focus for you right now on manifesting and accumulating more of what you want and what you need. And you don't want to be doing this from an egotistical kind of place. You don't want to be doing this in ways that are competitive or that harm other people or yourself, in ways that have you overworking and injuring yourself or depleting your energy. It really feels like you are trying to increase abundance in your life on multiple levels. And first and foremost, that is going to mean energetic abundance, which requires you to really be tuned in and tapping in to your essence so that that can be magnified. Okay, that's what I have for you today. If you enjoyed this reading, it is an excerpt from your 2025 extended year ahead, which includes an additional 2+ hours of in-depth exploration for navigating this year's most important transits, retrogrades, and eclipses. You can purchase that reading and access it today through the link in the show notes below. For anyone who's interested in joining some of Embodied Astrology's live virtual events, we have some upcoming in Aquarius season that you definitely don't want to miss. On January 29th, which is the Aquarius new moon, join Ramon Parrish and me for a members-only event where we'll be looking at Pluto's recent entry into Aquarius and what this means for the next 20 years. On February 9th, the author, artist, and intuitive Janata Petrus is holding her monthly full moon artistic alchemy class. Take this opportunity to tune in with the influences and creative guidance of the Leo full moon. Finally, on February 15th, Sherry Taylor and Ari Felix will be leading a workshop on Saturn and Pisces and astrology for world building. You can also find me every Monday in Somatic Space, where we work with the astrology of the week ahead as guidance for gentle and healing movement and meditation practices. All of our events are available by recording if you can't attend live. We offer tiered pricing and scholarships to everything, including memberships, and no one is ever turned away for lack of funds. Find more information in the show notes or at embodiedastrology.com.